Hello, everybody. This is Myles Sergé and
Donnell Knox, the co-host. How you feeling out there?
good. And welcome to MS Live. Today, we got the two Ohio players in the house tonight. All right, everybody, please give a warm welcome to PLURAL and FBK.
What up, everybody? What up, though?
What up?
How y'all gentlemen doing today?
Yeah, we good, man. Good.
I'm doing all right. I won't complain.
Yeah, that's it. Just all right. Just all right. That's cool, man. So I'm glad y'all could join us today. I've been wanting to do this for a while. Once I had the platform, we was show number 8. So I might as well put this up right now. Word. And I don't want to do it that way. Hey, let's go. Hold on. Getting better at this, There we go. Ohio players, show number 8 with PLURAL and FBK.
What up, though?
Yes. Hit it again, y'all. Let's do it.
Oh, okay. Sweet. Thanks, Myles, for the share.
Yes. You got it? Is everything good?
I clicked share. Let's see here. It just says share.
Okay.
It doesn't say. It wants me to share it with somebody, but I would like to share it on my Instagram so my followers can also see. Share this live video with others so they can watch too. So it's like I got to send it to them individually.
Yeah.
But you can share it with me. I'll share it.
Here you go.
But I want it to, because a lot of people will go, if I will be streaming live, they will come on. But Myles can share it with you too, because you're on here.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
We'll definitely do that.
How do I do that?
Yeah. So, well, Donnell does that. What's been going on, gentlemen? What's happening with you?
Well, I have recently moved to Detroit, so I've been here for about a month now.
Okay.
It's cool. Yeah, been playing a few shows. I just played New York Friday, and then played a live set yesterday here in Detroit.
Okay.
I was rock starring it yesterday.
Yeah.
I was tired as hell.
In New York, you played at Bossa Nova, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that place, man. I played it one time when Lenny had a party when I did the release from him on Thema.
Right.
And that's probably like my first time in New York. It's the first or second. I've only been there like not too long, but cool club, man.
Yeah, it was cool.
It's not too big. Well, it's kind of small though, but
it is.
It's cool. The people there is cool, but almost into it. I was about to play and I had to go pee. And, I had to get to the bathroom, man, and it was like a line. And they thought I was trying to cut the line. I'm like, no, I got to go play. And this girl like kind of gave me this look, right? And her dude looked at me like, what? I ain't trying to start nothing with you, man, but I'm DJing and I got to pee and I got like 2 minutes. So, I ain't push your girl or nothing, but it was kind of, the tension was kind of high for a second, man. And he was like, oh, okay, that's cool. You know what I mean? But just being in another city, you don't know like how shit be happening in the politics.
New York, bro.
Stuff.
That's New York right there.
New York,
Yeah, you got to be careful because, we all think we cool, and then all of a sudden, like, you find out you're not at home anymore.
Nah.
Yeah, man.
You're not in Kansas no more, Toto.
I mean, now mind you, I've been in some rough places, and so I don't really worry about it. But I also know that there's a way you conduct yourself when you're in those rough places that whether things either pop off or they don't.
Yeah, that's true. But that's cool, man. Like you've been there like at least maybe like 2 or 3 times now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a few years since I've been back, so that was cool going back and playing again.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So how does Detroit thing treat you? I mean, because I talked to Kevin.
Cool.
Yeah, no, you told me, you were like, yeah, man, I'm moving to Detroit. And I was like, really?
Yeah, man, it's cool. You know, it's definitely a change, man. Like, you know, from being in Columbus and all, it's some things I had to, you know, handle here, but still trying to handle for real though. It's not been totally smooth, but it's been all right, you know.
That's cool.
Can't wait to get fully settled in, you know. So
Yeah.
And Mr.
So oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, D. My bad.
I was just wondering what sparked the move. Like,
well,
you know,
my girl lives here, so it's like,
well, hell.
I mean, you know, that made it real easy. That made it easier, you know.
Okay.
But like, it was also like the music stuff, man. People were like, "Why do you not live here?" And I was like, "I don't know." And I started really thinking about it. I was like, I should just be living in Detroit. So here I am. You know.
Makes sense. I mean, you know,
makes
a lot of sense. I guess. I don't know.
You got some merge over there, so you can just pop in. I don't know how well you know Mike and the guys, but once you get cool with them, you can, you know, you can go over there hanging out.
Yeah.
He would even probably rent you a room, or like a studio in that spot.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I got my studio set up here, so I'm good. You
good with that part.
Yeah.
Do you feel safer there? Or
Yeah.
do you feel any the energy?
Yeah.
How Detroit can be.
It's chill. Yeah. I mean, I live in Dearborn, so I live a little bit outside of it, but it's chill, you know. So
there is something to say about old Detroit versus new Detroit. You know, I remember the very first time I went to Submerge, and that was when they were in their original building on Grand River. And I just remember, you know, Mike basically telling me, he's like, he called, like, because I called to show up, you know, and he's like, okay, if you're coming, that's cool. He goes, what kind of car do you drive? And at the time I was driving my Buick Electra estate wagon. So that's how I drive a Buick. He's like, oh, okay, you good then. He goes, I was just making sure you ain't had no foreign car. I was like, nah, man. I was like, I already know.
Yeah.
And he's like, as soon as you get here, he's like, make sure you get right to the door. Okay. And I didn't think nothing of it until I got there. And as soon as I got there, there was some, let's just say there were some people that were looking at me because they saw a vehicle they hadn't seen before in the neighborhood. And as soon as something was getting ready to pop off, or I thought something was getting ready to pop off, and I was going to have to protect myself, Mike comes out the door. What's up, man? What up, dog? You good?
Yeah. Yeah. They ain't messing with Mike.
No, they wasn't messing with Mike. So,
but they ain't gonna mess with you either, DJ Powerhouse. DJ Powerhouse.
Oh, the years.
Old school, man, yeah. Back in the day.
Yeah.
No, I ain't gonna never forget that first party, you know, at the spot where we was living at downtown, a hard black evening.
Yes.
DJ Powerhouse was controlling the crowd. He had them. I think you the one that banged the hardest that night, man. Downstairs, because oh
my God, I played live that night because that particular party is like so legendary now. Just for all of the names of people that played, because like, you know, Surgeon played. Lord, it was almost like who didn't play. So, you know, and the rumors that have surrounded about who might have showed up and who might have been there, might not have been there. You know, I just remember getting the opportunity to play, and while I was playing, because I was playing live, my favorite story about that show, though, is the fact that I drove there in that same Buick station wagon.
Okay.
And prior to driving up there, somebody had hit the front of my car. So every now and again, the battery would short out, so it would shut all the power off on the car.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was driving up there, nothing bad had happened. I'd been driving fine. In a torrential downpour, like all of a sudden I got into the zoo, and all of a sudden it was like pouring rain. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going. And of course, this is before GPS, so I'm on MapQuest trying to figure out how to get to the spot. And I am like, cannot figure out exactly how to get to where I'm supposed to go to. All of a sudden, as soon as I'm like somewhere, and I'm not close yet, I'm close, but I'm not quite there yet. All of a sudden, my car finally just stops. So I have to get out in the pouring rain and actually like pop my hood and try and jiggle the wires so I can get the car back started again. Get parked in the parking lot right by the building. Stops raining completely, like it never happened before.
Good old Calabama.
Yeah.
that can happen there.
that was back when I was playing live using an original IBM PC-AT.
That's right. I remember I was like, yeah, who's this dude who got the man? It's like, computer from home, just like the big monitor.
That's funny, man. Somebody brought that shit up the other day. They were like, man, remember people used to carry around a big ass computers for live shows? Yeah, Kevin. I was like, that was my homie. He was doing that.
Yeah. And it's so funny because now my live rig mostly fits in a carry-on, and I'm like, a carry-on with clothes. I can put clothes in there too. So it's like, I just was sitting there thinking to myself, it's like I when everybody talks about how far technology's come, I think about that first. I'm like, I used to carry around a computer that weighed 75 pounds total.
Yep.
The keyboard weighed 10. And I'm sitting there like, I used to carry that to play live, and that was my sequencer. It didn't sample. It didn't play anything else. I didn't use a tracker or anything like that. All it did was play MIDI note data.
Yep. All that stuff. Even carrying records back then. It's funny because I do look at some people. No, I got to play vinyl. I got to play records.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I try to tell them that, hey man, you could do time code vinyl. It's the same thing. If you really need to play vinyl, and but I said, dude, trust me, I do it all the time, and it works flawless. Like if you got a good computer with Tractor, and I always tell them you can even record your own records and still play them on time code and vinyl, but they think they still want to take the record box. I mean, I got this big silver, I got like I call it the magic crate because it's like the big silver box, like to carry the records around in. And man, I could not imagine carrying that thing around now, especially in no dang on airport.
No, I was thinking that's the same. Yeah, man, I was thinking the same thing the other day. I was like, man, when I was going to New York, I was like, I'm really glad that I'm not carrying a big ass like box of records because my old ass ain't dragging that around. I'm sorry.
Man, we like old, bro. I mean, we ain't old, but it's like, damn, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm a little hurt now, you know what I mean? So, and I can just put a USB stick in my pocket.
Exactly. I had like this little ass bag I'm traveling with
right?
my headphones in it. I'm like, I'm feeling good about this. I'm like, I'm good. Like,
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. Because I think it's just this new thing. They feel like, oh, if I'm doing that, I'm doing something. I'm like, guys like us, we started in hip hop probably anyway, scratching, playing. So it's nothing for us. It's like, for us to play records, it's like riding a bike.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Again, because I really, and those of you that are out there listening, do not say nothing to me no more about me using Tractor, the hybrid set. Because yes, I can play from records and I can play from CDJs. Sometimes I'm just choosing that because it's fun for me. Okay.
you got to break it out just to prove it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know,
I'm start saying,
I mean,
like the young folks said, get you a man that can do both.
Right.
I mean, I stop on Myles. I stop on when I tell him, okay, give me 50 of your records and give me 3 decks. I don't even need to know what records you got.
Right.
Just you select the 50, and then they don't say nothing else after that.
You know
so
what?
Like, leave me. You know,
that's like the dopest thing. Like, I think the last time I've done, it's been a while since I did it. Just to like randomly take somebody else's records, you don't know shit, and just play. It's like, it's dope.
I remember one time I showed up at this place when I was living in Dayton, man. And these kids from they were playing drum and bass. They were from Columbus, and dude was like, "Here, take my records and play them." Man, I beat the hell out of that dude's records, and those kids was like looking at him like, "God damn!" They were like, "Man, we need to practice." It was funny, man. It was funny. I beat up on his records. Man.
That's not really what they said. What they said was, "I didn't know those records could do that."
Right.
No, yeah,
that's what they said. They said, I didn't know those records could do that."
They were just like looking at each other like, damn.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's comical to me because, you know, my intellect would think, okay, the dude's older than me. Probably he probably does know how to play on turntables. You know, so let me just think that way, not assume that he doesn't or he never has. And, you know, I'm like, dude, you probably started 2 years ago, you know, mixing, and now you're asking me why. Don't ask me why, man. Just I want to play with my drum machines and sampler and the computer, 4 decks, you know, so it's four decks playing and some beat machines and my own music mixed in there too. Now I feel more like a musical conductor than just a DJ,
right?
Because it's fun, you know. But for me to play 2 tracks on, you know, on vinyl, that's come on, man. I've been doing this since I was 12. It's
right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, been there, done it. At home, yeah, okay, you know. Sometimes.
And the question when people ask that, it's like, you know, I have many reasons. One is the fact that it's like, okay, I have something in the realm of like 300 to 400 unreleased tracks of my own. It's like, and if I wanted to, I could play an entire DJ set of my own work. I think almost all of us here could play an entire DJ set of our own work. We have enough.
Mm-hmm.
And Lord Jesus, if you get all 4 of us together, it's like that's a whole night right there.
True.
Yeah.
6. So when it comes down to it, it's like, you know, I like to play the things that no one's heard yet, and I like to play the things that I've been working on to see what they sound like to other people. So, and when I get the chance to play out and I get to play digitally, that's how I get to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, you know, and a lot of folks when they're first starting out, because of the fact that they're actually just getting into the skill of DJing, you know, they don't have the production and things of that nature. So they don't have that as a luxury to do. And I realized that for us, it's a privilege, it's a luxury, because we started out at a point in time where if we wanted to play our own music, we had to get somebody to either press it on vinyl or we had to get a lathe cut.
Right.
True.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So now, you know, and the other thing too is that, you know, I can send somebody like Alan Oldham, I could send him a track, you know, on a Thursday, and he could be out, you know, he could be out on the road and put it in his set on Friday night.
When you do that, you know that track is hot. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, shout out to
like, go against you, D.
Yeah. Shout out to T1000, you know, but it's just one of those things. It's like, you know, that's the kind of, you know, we grew up in a world where that wasn't possible, and now it is possible. So when we get to people saying, oh, well, you can you know, but you have all of these skills from back in the day, and I bet you got a whole bunch of cool records. Yes, I do, but I also don't necessarily always trust that when I go out to play on someone else's Technics 1200s, that they're going to be A, Technics 1200s, and B, that they're going to actually work like mine do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
yeah. Yep. You move the pitch and it's
yeah. You know, you go and you find out that like the right channel doesn't work or something.
Yeah.
You know,
yep.
Or that the ground wire has been cut and they don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, and I mean, that's one of those things that, you know, we went through all of these things, and you know, I'd say nowadays with younger DJs, especially, one of my biggest pieces of advice is that I try really hard to not give them tips and techniques on how to mix and things of that nature, because those things are, people make tutorials and videos and master classes about that. No, my thing is that why don't you learn what to do when everything goes wrong? It's like, if you learn how to work through when everything goes wrong, number one, that means you'll probably play more DJ sets, because everybody will say, well, everything else was messed up except for it worked for you.
Yep.
And the second thing is that, you know, because I've told people before, okay, so what do you do when, okay, I know you probably use the sync button, and that's okay, because the sync button allows you to focus on doing all of the other things in DJing that we didn't have access to at the time. Like, for instance, making loops and things of that nature. It was harder for us to do it that way. But again, if the sync buttons doesn't work, what do you do with it?
Right.
Do you know how to match by ear? It's like, and I learned that, you know, especially now in digital DJing, it's even more helpful to learn to mix by ear than it is to, you know, to not. So, because, you know, sync works 90% of the time, but it's that 10% of the time that you got to worry about.
What's that? It was like some girl at some festival, like I think it was like mid last year or something. I can't remember her name, but it was something the way
to remember her name.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't happen. Like either the how the tracks were in. They didn't sync up, or they didn't sync up, but they wouldn't. Something happened, and it's the way they came up, and it was just went off course, and she didn't know how to fix it.
Right. And the problem is that a lot of younger folks who are, you know, just starting out, they don't have that kind of time in, and they don't know that, like, it's, people prepare for the scenario where everything goes right. And, you know, it's just like when I was in restaurant management, I used to get told all the time, the days when everything goes smoothly are not the days that make you a manager. The days that make you a manager are the days when everything goes to crap.
Right.
True.
Yep. You saying that though makes me think of yesterday, because man, I had to do a live PA, right, and I had my machine and all that. Dude, my computer would not work. It like shut off, and luckily I brought other gear with me, so I could actually do the set.
Where did you do your PA?
Who was that? What the hell was that bar? Like, I can't remember the name of the damn bar. It wasn't really nobody there, really, but you know, there was a few people hanging out and stuff. So
okay,
I did the thing though. You know what I'm saying? I still could do it because I know my hardware. So I was like playing around. I just took the computer, put it away, and just did the thing anyways. You know, and made it happen. So it was all impromptu. I just did it. You know,
that's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Don't you wonder that sometimes? Because you be like, wait a minute, why is not? What's happening here?
Yeah,
what's going on now? At this time, you know, come on.
Yeah.
And you later, you still don't know.
No.
Was it a ghost messing with me or something, or what is the deal? Because
it sucks about it. You go through all that, and then afterwards you find out, oh damn, it was something stupid.
Oh yeah. Look, that's happened to me so many times. I mean, you know, considering how long I've been playing live, it's you know, besides DJing. It's just there's always something. When I played in St. Louis in May, I've been working with using an Electron Digitakt as my drum machine, and I'm newer to it, and for some reason or another, I had created all these presets and patterns and everything else, and I thought I was going to be straight. I was excited because I'm like, this is going to sound really, really good. And I'd already practiced with it. I did a podcast, using some of the patterns. I go, turn everything on. I got no drum sounds. I got no patterns. I got nothing. And I'm like, what just happened here? So I had to go back and do some more learning, but at the same didn't help me at that very moment. I had to do an entire live show from scratch, and I was playing an hour and a half. And then, but the thing is that if you don't practice for those inevitabilities, if you don't say, well, what happens when things, and people think that you're being negative about that, but it's like, no. If you work in this business long enough, you know that things ultimately will go wrong, and you have to find a way around those things.
True.
So, and that's what separates someone who is a DJ or a producer or a performer from a professional. So, just the getting paid part makes you a professional, but making sure that you actually deliver the services that you're being paid for is what makes you a real actual professional.
Right.
True.
That's why that tech writer can save you a lot, because
oh my God,
if you send that tech writer and they miss on you, hey, I told you I needed this, I told you I needed that, and that's going to affect the performance. It's right there in the text. So thank God for that.
Oh yeah.
But also we do our preventative stuff too, because I'm always I know that I'm using the computer to play from Tractor, but I'm always bringing a USB stick with the same playlist on it, just in case.
Right.
And sometimes I've even put it in the CDJ, just had it there, because it depends on how they got things set up there. If it's like a lot of space and it's smooth and clean, then I kind of don't worry. But if I see they just kind of whatever, let me just put the USB stick there, so I can literally just jump from there to there, and people might not really miss what I'm doing, depending. But I like to tell them and bring my own little cables, little things, because you get there, oh, we don't have this USB cable, or we don't have this, we don't have that. Okay, I got all my little stuff anyway, even my little flashlight, so I can, at night I can set up everything in my own little stands. But then it just gets into bringing all the extra stuff. But as you were saying, James and Kevin, being a professional, knowing that, okay, I'm taking all this stuff in case something, because because people don't listen to they didn't read the email. Oh, we didn't know. Don't matter. It's dated when I sent it. So, but people out there dancing ain't gonna care. They don't know none of that in the first place. So
no, and they don't care. All they're going to see is you making you interrupting the flow.
Yep.
True.
And then, oh my God, did you see this?
Yeah. It's like, I don't go see him because I heard that, I heard that blah, 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 blah. No, that's not how this works. What you want is that you want nobody to know of any of the bad things that are happening behind the scenes. And you want them to know that you did what you were supposed to do. Mm-hmm. Even if it's not what you expected that you were going to do, it still should be a good show.
True. So I have a question for you guys, because I really don't know this. I think I do, but I don't. It's been so long. For people that don't know, we all know each other for a long time, and it's been some years.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
been a long time.
And I should know this, but I don't think I ever asked you guys this.
Hold on a second. I'm only 28. I don't know what.
Oh, my fault. Yeah. Maybe for somebody else. I don't know. You kind of look like somebody, but
That's my older brother. All I know.
Your older brother. That's it.
Yeah.
KBF.
Yeah.
So, how did you guys meet? I never asked you this. How did you guys meet?
Kevin and I met in the '90s, man. We booked him for parties. I was with a production group called Just Us.
Okay.
We used to book Kevin. We booked Kevin when he was Powerhouse. You know, and there's some great stories of that dude. That stuff was funny. If he would just be like, I remember one time we was playing this show, man. And this dude was like yelling out like F slow breaks. He would just turn down everything. And it was fun, man. He was like beating that living hell out of it. We were just laughing. We were cracking up because we all did not like slow breaks, man. So it was funny. Yeah, that was good times for real. But yeah, me and Kevin have known each other for a really long time. So
yeah.
I always joke that that James and I met, and when we did, the fun part about the situation was that both of us were. We'll just say that both of us were slightly violent during that period in time in our lives.
Really though.
I mean, listen, you know, we were both involved in fighting sports. We were both involved in, you could call it street justice if you wanted to. And I was doing some activism during that period in time of my life, whether it was actually like, you know, with the hip hop group that I was in or with being out on the streets. Long and the short of it, we acknowledged each other and we were cool with each other and we had a lot of respect for each other. We would like suggest, like, because I was part of Elemental Crew in Columbus where we were throwing a lot of big parties, and we would, you know, talk to the Justice Crew whenever they'd have somebody big coming in. We would make sure we didn't like cross streams.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever somebody be like, "Hey, we should get somebody to play for this show. Who can we get?" You know, like we need somebody local or whatnot. And I would say, "Why don't we get James?" But his DJ name at the time was Divine. So I'm like, why don't we have Divine? So, you know, and that was back when he played drum and bass. And I love drum and bass from that time period. So, and James was one of my favorite drum and bass DJs to watch because of the fact that, like, outside of Rotator from Detroit, he was James had a lot of the tricks, and I was really happy to watch somebody who actually had skills like that. But we were each other's best advocate. We didn't spend a lot of time talking. I'd probably say a good 35 words to each other during the 90s themselves. But it was always all love and respect. And I'm kind of glad we didn't, because I have this distinct feeling we would have probably cleared some rooms and some bar fights together. I don't want to say that. I'm just going to say we probably would have been trouble. I mean, we're troubled now. You know, don't get it twisted, but I think we have a little less. We're a little less trouble than we used to be. So. But yeah, then when I had left Columbus and moved and done a whole bunch of stuff, and when I came back to Columbus, I was pretty sad because most of my contemporaries had already moved away. Mm-hmm. And I was basically hanging out here at one point. Then I got a message from James, and he's like, "Hey, I moved to Columbus." I'm like, "Say what?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "You know how to use Ableton Live?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Come over." So he came over to the place I was at, and we started working together. And I think the very first time that we actually worked together, we made a track called "Ride to Destroy."
Yep.
So, which I still love that track. So.
James, where were you living before? Because Kevin just said you moved to Columbus. Where were you?
I was living in Dayton.
Okay.
Hayton.
Now, how far is that from each other? Like an hour or so, 2 hours?
An hour, 24 minutes. Like, yeah, it's about an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Close.
So it's an hour if you drive. It's an hour if you drive like a crazy Ohioan, an hour and 20 minutes if you drive the speed limit.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so we weren't very far from each other, and of course, during the '90s, most people would actually like. That was when like you would get like the test pattern on TV at like 3 o'clock in the morning, or you get the really bad infomercials. So people would actually leave their house.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't like streaming services and stuff to where. Or you couldn't go on YouTube and watch Boiler Room. So so people would actually leave to go to parties, especially when there'd be something big going on. So yeah, it wasn't anything to see somebody from, like, for instance, Columbus to drive to Indianapolis or to Detroit or to Dayton. Or to somewhere in Louisville or something like that, because there was a party going on. So people used to travel all over, or Chicago even. So, but now it's I think the scene has turned a little more localized.
Right.
So
yeah.
See, it's crazy because I don't think people realize this, but there's a lot of you Ohio people. It's you two. You got Dan, Tatan, Kimian. Like, all y'all know each other, or like, are y'all?
Me and Kimmy are homies. We were like, he was part of the Just Us crew in Dayton, so like we threw parties together. You know? So that's how Kimmy is actually one that booked me in New York. Like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Him and Todd and Charles out there, right?
Yeah.
In New York.
Charles is out there too.
It's a lot of y'all.
And the funny part about Tatantan and Charles and Todd is that they were all at one point in time part of a group called Body Release, which is how I ended up meeting all of those guys, because right around that time, like, I was playing in a hip hop band called Poets of Heresy, and we were starting to kind of gather a name for ourselves. We'd been around for a year and a half, 2 years or so, but we started infiltrating, playing on campus, which was during the 90s, the early 90s especially. Columbus was such a rock and roll town that people were like, we don't have rap music on campus. And clubs would not allow rap artists to play there. So we started kind of infiltrating that, and one of the very first shows that we got to play with a hardcore band called the New Bomb Turks. They gave us one of our very first shows, and we ended up playing with. Ended up asking if we wanted to play this show, the headlining show, and we had the opening act, but they were like, so it's at the Ohio Union, which is actually part of the Ohio State University, my alma mater. And all of a sudden, they're like, yeah, we have these guys called Body Release playing before you. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I didn't really think anything of it until Charles Noel walked in the door, who I knew from someone else. And then I see like the group, and they're like doing live techno.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So I've known all of those guys for, since like about 1990-ish, 91. So back before I graduated. So, but yeah, like freaking just that cluster of people, because you had Charles Noel, who was kind of like the catalyst for everybody, to Tonton Duvante, you had Todd Sines, and you had a host of other people that were involved back in that period in time. You know, I was always around, and I was like a bridge between, you know, the hip hop scene and the dance music scene in that period in time, I guess, because like the guys in the Poets of Heresy, a lot of them didn't hang out in the same circles that I did. Like they would go and they were more interested in, you know, they were more interested in hip hop than everything else. And I was like, well, what else is out here? So, and I was also, of course, being in DJ culture and, you know, growing up listening to like, you know, things on WBMX in Chicago and, you know, listening to, you know, everything that was coming out of Detroit. And, you know, all of these things, you know, basically all of the things that you get surrounded by in that late 80s, early 90s time period. It's like, and then finally knowing that all of that stuff was happening really close to home because, you know, Columbus kind of was also a convergence point for like folks from New York City and from, you know, Detroit, Chicago, and other places. So I got a lot, and then Ohio people, of course, you know, I always joke that when everybody talks about the West Coast funk sound, they're actually talking about the Ohio funk sound. So, because, you know, you start going backwards and you start looking at, you know, not only like, you know, the Ohio players, but you start looking at Dayton, Zappa, Roger. You start looking at, you know, just the Bootsy Collins from Cincinnati, and just so many other acts that are associated with, you know, so many of these acts that are associated with like funk. And, you know, even with Parliament Funkadelic and everything else, it's like a lot of those things have some Ohio roots. So we come by it honestly. And I was, you know, I'm thankful for the fact that I got to be, you know, grow up in a time period where all of those things were germinating. So.
Yeah. Man, I think the last time I saw y'all was that one time I was visiting.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Because I came down to visit some kin folks in Columbus, and then we all met up at the hotel.
Yeah.
And then one of my little cousins that, well, he's from, you know, Michigan, but he just happened to be living down there because he's a fireman. He showed up. That was some years ago. Wasn't that before COVID too?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
James and I were living together at the time. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because the thing is, I think y'all kind of freaked my mom out a little bit because I think like she saw y'all and she was a little bit, okay, I saw two dudes walking behind me or something, and then y'all came and then okay, there was them. But I think before that she was a little bit, you know, nervous or something. I was like, yeah, they would have never done nothing to you, mom, at that point, you know. What was that? The State Bridge? Was that State Bridge? Yeah, that's what that place was. Yeah,
close to the airport. So
yeah, because we was that time we did the other route. Because usually when I come home, mom is straight up like, okay, we're gonna basically rent a car and then go down to Memphis. This is every time. Drive down to Memphis, stay at my aunt's a couple of days, pick her up, and then we all go over to Atlanta and usually stay there about a week. And then usually when we get there, after the first 10 minutes, I put my bags down. I'm just gone all over Atlanta for the next 4 days. But that time, moms wanted to go to Columbus to see our old aunt. So that's why we went that way first. And then went on that way straight over to Memphis and still went to Atlanta later. And, you know, but I just told her, I said, you know, I don't fly halfway across the world to get in the car and then be driving halfway across the world because you're not going to drive fast. You know, she'll be like 68 or something like that, or 60, you know, 64 or somewhere. And that's just, no, man, you know, I'm going to have that thing pushed to the limit, you know, as much as I can get away with it all the way there. So, of course, it's going to end up being me driving, you know. not wanting to stop because they want to stop all the time and not just go to the bathroom, but eat, take everything out, and or sit in some restaurant, eat and everything. And there's no.
I want to just put on some basic channel and chill.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah. No, she got, usually when I drive, she gets forced. She has to listen to me. Okay, I put on Carrie Chandler. So at least, I'm not banging her, all the way driving, but I got to have some house or something. So, okay, Carrie Chandler, like, because she was like, I know this guy's name. Like, how many mixes does he got? You just, well, you don't want me to put on what I really want to put on. So,
you're supposed to be playing like Al Green and that type of stuff.
No, she wants to. You know what she'll want to do, Myles? She'll want to get to. She'll want to get to the YouTube site of her church.
Oh,
and she'll want to listen to that in the car all the way driving. Wow. I mean, like her, not just him preaching. I'm talking about Sunday school, worship, singing, and all that. And then him coming back preaching later. She'll want to listen to the whole program. I can't drive.
It was from my higher spirit trying to tell you need God in your life.
Right.
Jesus. There's
a happy video there somewhere. I think it's floor plan. See, you can put on "We Magnify His Name" and
see that there you go. Kevin got it right there. About the Rob Hood.
There you go. Rob Hood. You gotta put on some Rob Hood.
There you go. Yeah. You should try it next time for real. I bet you it'll work.
Right.
What, Rob Hood?
The Rob Hood floor plan thing with him and his daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll work for a moment, and she'll be like, put this on, or Al Jarreau or somebody. I was like, dude, I cannot drive.
I can't
falling asleep.
Not
be falling asleep, man.
I'll be
yeah. So, but she, what? I think I scared her though when I was going through the, how you go over the bridge in Kentucky. Yeah.
Right.
I grew up on that, man. She she used to play that in the car all the time. I would see that little bird, and when I see the video now, I'm like, man, golly.
What comedian was that? Some comedian did a skit about that. I swear, it's like either he did one for real, or it was just a skit. I just remember some Al Jarreau, like McDonald's commercial. I don't know if that's real, but I just remember that for some reason, but I don't know.
So,
yeah. What else? James. Well, so I haven't seen. I think I seen you guys together. Is either before I moved to England. I think that was it, or it's either that or when I can't remember. I know you came to that. You played
before you moved to England.
What was that?
It was right before you moved to England.
Okay,
it was right before. Yeah.
All right.
You were like less than a month or two away from moving to England.
Yeah, you're about to be out.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you see, I'm back. So,
yep.
Yes.
So that's been. But I haven't seen you guys together. And the last time before that, like I had that thing last year for the pre-party in Detroit, and I just so happened to walk through the crowd, and it was James. I was like, "What the hell?" I didn't even know he was gonna. It shocked me for a second because I'm like,
I know.
And I was like, "Whoa, that's my dude, man." It was good, It was great to see you. I used to do it forever, man.
I know, man. It's been a minute, man.
It's been a long minute, like
years, man.
Especially me and him, like I met Kevin through James, but me and James did the 616 thing, so we've been with it forever. Shout out to Brian. I haven't heard from a while, but so we've always kept in touch like that, but and it was cool to see him. I'm like, damn, I ain't seen him in forever. And then he disappeared. Like, I think he left though. So he was at the gig. He stayed for a while. I took some, and then I didn't know this. I know since then. I know you're doing photography now.
That's pretty
dope. And then you're also doing the modular thing, and you're playing like it's a whole nother name you're going under now. It's like harder techno.
Yeah, it's real
So,
hard.
tell us about that for a little bit, because
The cookery stuff, man. That that kind of came about during the COVID thing, man. I was just like, I was sitting around. I was kind of mad because I didn't get to play. I haven't played shit, I haven't done anything. I'm just like, man. So, I was a little angry about some stuff. So that just kind of came about. I just started just like unleashing, I'm like, okay. Plural stuff is usually kind of controlled. Like the cookery stuff, I just go insane. I just go buck wild with that and just make it the craziest, most industrial sounding. Because I got an industrial music background. I was always into that. That's my gateway to electronic music. So I came up. I started listening to like 9 Inch Nails and Skinny Puppy, Ministry, all that kind of stuff. And then so yeah, that was pretty much my gateway into like electronic music. So yeah, that is just kind of like. And then I started really and I always really liked really hard ass techno. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like just do something different. The plural stuff. But it's funny because me and Kevin talk about this. My plural stuff and the cookery stuff kind of blur the lines a little bit between each other because
right.
Yeah.
I'm usually kind of hitting people in the head now with like everything.
Yeah.
What's going on? You see this theme of violence?
I mean, I just like the fact that a lot of times people go, man, your music's so angry. They talk about my music that way, and I'm like, you've not heard James's music? I'm like, and it's funny because when James and I actually when we worked together as the Fallen, there's this weird thing that happens because people love to kind of see us together and they go, well, James is like the calm and reserved one and Kevin's the crazy one. And I'm like, sure. I'm like, you can believe that all you want to. I was like, no, you can believe that if you want to. I was like, part of it's true, but the real talk is that like, I'm usually the one that I'm usually the one that on Saturday night will stay home and hide. Especially nowadays, partially for medical reasons, but for other reasons as well. James is the one who will eventually go out and be social with folks. It's like, now that does probably speak to the fact that I am crazy, but that's a whole nother story. Don't tell nobody. Oh Lord,
You just told everybody.
Anyway, no, but it's hilarious because like I always say, if you get James talking and you know him well enough, you will find out that James is actually the funny one between the two of us. I just tell jokes. James got jokes.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I heard the funniest shit came from James. I for real. It was violent, but it was funny. What, the old coworker you had back in the day at the shop?
Yeah, man.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. And that dude, man, I don't ever want to see him again. Bro, like when hey man, I ain't gonna lie, when he gave me his key saying he was quitting, man, I was happy as hell. I was like, I've been waiting for this dude to like leave for 10 years. I'm like, I am so happy he's gone. I was like, bye. He gave me that key. I was like, yes. Like me.
Right.
Put that key in the drawer. I was like, they'll never have to see this dude again.
I felt sorry for this dude. Like for real. If he could do the things he wanted to do,
man, you had it coming, man. I'm telling you.
Listen. I'm about to tell this story now because it's funny. It's about this same person.
Oh hell!
There was a point in time where I actually worked with James at this shop, so I got to meet this individual. And every story that James has ever told you about that dude is 100% true. He is that bad. and yeah. Anyway, no, there was a time when I was there and we were all working. And for some reason or another, I'm not sure exactly what had transpired. All I knew is that those two were getting closer and closer to each other. And I couldn't hear a word James was saying. And I could see that this dude was over there, like, basically, I could tell he was angling for getting his behind whooped badly. And I saw everybody else, like all the people that were working on the press with me, they stopped. Everybody was like, well, I want to see where this goes. I'm like, no, you don't. And I realized at that very moment, I was like, okay.
Look at him.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna have to stop this. Because I realized, because my whole thing was that, okay, I'm gonna just put it this way. On my last day at that shop, I almost had to do something to that individual.
Oh man.
That's why it was my last day at that shop.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm gonna say about that. So, and I understood where James was because he had been dealing with it for so long, and this was a dude that used to claim that he was he definitely used to claim that he could fight and that he had like done all of these crazy things. It's just kind of like, you know, when you meet the dude who it's like when you meet the dude who thinks that he's like, you know, who tells you that he was in the army and he was like a, you know, war hero and everything else, and that he like, you know, took on an entire platoon of people with one M16 and like, you know, two clips of ammo, you know, like, dude, not everybody is like, you know, not everybody is a, you know, a super soldier. You know, the army had dishwashers too. This dude is just like, he's like one of those people, like he is a superhero in his own mind.
See?
Yep. Always some movie stuff this dude be talking about.
Yeah.
Without giving us his name, can y'all kind of give a description of what he looked like, you know, for the viewers? Like, because maybe the description might be funny to. Built like, how was he built? Was he built uncomfortably built, or was he like?
He was built like a refrigerator.
Wow.
He had a haircut that he could set a watch to.
Yes, he did.
Like fucking box shit. Like, man, it was.
I think the best way,
glasses, like he was like, you know, just kind of, you know, old, out of shape and shit, you know, like
right.
Uncomfortably built. Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna say
that.
Do you so if you ever watch the television,
back messed up, like come on, man.
If you ever watch the television,
everybody, like get out of here.
You ever watch the television, King of the Hill? Imagine Bobby Hill had a retarded cousin.
Oh my god.
Yep.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
All I remember, I just heard this dude James talking about a sword, and I just like. No.
Man.
He was pissed off. Like, oh hell, man.
Sword.
Yeah.
And dude be trying to talk like he knew all this stuff. I'm like, man. Yeah. And you know, you don't tell that stuff to somebody who actually does this shit. You know, and it's like, man, I train, dude. I teach. You know, I'm like, I was a teacher. I was like, I was a martial arts instructor. I'm like, where are you telling? You're telling me stuff that only can happen in movies. You know, I'm like, stop it.
Right.
It started to make me mad. You know, I was just like getting really irritated with him like all the time about that. It was ridiculous.
And what did he sound like? High pitched?
Yeah.
Middle pitch? A little high. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we getting so that gives us the viewers out there, that gives you something. You know, they can't mention names, but you get an idea of the character that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Don't get it I don't want to mislead people. These are excellent human beings right here. They're great producers and great DJs, and the very nicest people you would ever meet.
Right.
Ever.
Right
here. DJ Powerhouse.
Everybody's got their limits though. You know, the ones you don't put up with. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
right? Everybody's got their limits. I mean, and work will push you to some of your limits too.
Yes.
So.
Oh yeah,
That's very true.
that's very true. That's
Very.
true.
And now I repair computers for a living. So when and I'm going to tell you that I don't know that there's ever been a human being that's ever made me more mad than whoever designed some of the computers that I've had to repair. That's all I'm going to say about that. So I'm not going to crack on no brands. I'm just going to say that there are times when I'll be working and I'll ask myself the question, who designed this? As I'm taking something apart without a manual.
I get it.
Yeah. I mean, you find crazy stuff in there: dust, hair, chicken grease, something.
Chicken.
Up in this.
Listen, I'm just going to say that thank goodness that we have a policy that if something smells a certain way, that we can get rid of it. I know on occasion, and this one messes with me a little bit, but I don't know why you would buy a computer and then return it to the store that you bought it from, and you got roaches in your house.
Don't tell me you found roaches inside.
Man.
Oh, that is at least once a quarter we find no.
Oh my God.
Okay. Here's what happens when that happens. Number one, everyone freaks out.
Like, are they alive? Like, they're actually coming out the computer when you like?
There have been a couple of times where people didn't pay attention to they didn't use their nose, and they'll actually get to work. Oh my God, what's that? And they'll put it back and they'll start taping the box, and they'll try and like make sure they tape every crevice possible. I watched somebody use an entire roll of packing tape on one computer case and then put stickers over top of it that said that it had roaches in it.
Oh my God.
And not only did they do that, they wrote the note in English and in Spanish.
Wow.
Which that probably made me laugh more than anything else, because I was like, oh Lord.
Dang, roaches in the computers.
Yeah, roaches in
Crazy.
the computer. I thought that was only if you bought a computer for rent to own place. I thought that was
Rent to own, You don't pay that bill, they come to the house, don't they? Take that stuff right back, boy.
They're like, oh dog, you missed your payment, dog. You go ahead.
Yeah. Right at your door, that clipboard and shit.
Yeah, I've heard dudes who work at those places, those rent-to-own places, have some horror stories about that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah,
like stuff coming out of people's TVs, like roaches and stuff. Like they go in the house and there's just roaches everywhere. I'm like, damn, like that's not fun.
No,
Heck no.
I wouldn't even go in their house. Like, you can have it.
We good.
We good.
right.
You can have it.
You could have this couch back.
Fine, I don't want it.
You're right. I mean, it's like that's a job where they should issue you a hazmat suit, just in case.
Yeah, that's a no. That's a no for me. Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
That's all right, man. The nitty gritty, you know.
I knew it'd be something if you're doing that, because I was okay cleaning. I mean, like repairing them. I'm sure people, especially depending on where you get that computer from, too, you'd be like, "What the world?"
I mean, but it's funny because I'm not necessarily the most squeamish person in the universe, because prior to doing this job, I used to haul food scrap. So I used to keep food scrap and cardboard and things like that out of the landfill. And I'll just tell you that I've seen some things that I will not repeat on this conversation here, just because, whoo,
Yeah. We don't want to mess up the algorithm.
No. Let's
Be positive.
yeah, we're gonna keep it positive. I'm just gonna say that so I was doing that job during the period in time where we came to where we came to play for you. And during that period in time, so I was lifting heavy basically, because those cans could weigh like 300-400 pounds on their own. Yeah, so I'm not going to tell you I was strong, but I'll put it this way. When I first started doing that job, I weighed 265 pounds. I got all the way down to like 230, and then I got back to 265 because I put 30 pounds of muscle on. I was also eating everything. And James at that point in time was like, he was working out heavy too. We're living together, so we were, we were burning lots of calories, but we were putting them back. And so both of us were not small individuals. And I think during that period in time, like, I'm much smaller than I was then, and I think James is too. So, but no, it was hilarious because I know that there were periods in time like when we went out to California to play. There's a friend of ours who wears I think he wears a kid's medium T-shirt. And there was a picture between the two of him standing in between the two of us, and I'll just say that the sight gag was full effect at that point in time. It's like when you see like a guy who's barely 5 foot tall next to James and I, it was funny. So, because I did not feel bad about this at all, but now when I look back, I go, wow, I was big. So, but yeah, freaking, I don't know. I think one of the other things too is that like as you get older, your health, you start to understand some things, and I think being physically active through most of my life, and James has definitely been physically active through most of his life, you start to realize, okay, you can't be that size anymore, and you have to start getting smaller. So sadly for me, it took a kidney transplant, but that's a whole other story.
I can remember you were going through some of that, man, and I'm glad you came through all that, and things are a lot better for sure, yo.
Oh yeah, I mean, kidney transplant, several eye surgeries. It's rough because number one, a lot of those happened during the pandemic, because like I ended up playing Unter while I was in New York while I was like in dialysis, and that was really strange because I had a stent put in my artery so I could, or not a stent, but a catheter put in my artery so I could actually get dialysis, and I had to fly with that. So I'm going through TSA, and everybody's kind of freaking out there, and there I am being patted down. He's like, "What's this on your chest?" And he starts pulling on it. And I'm like, dude, please don't pull on that. And he's like, what is it? I said, it's my catheter. It's my port for dialysis. And he looks at me kind of strange. And I go, look, I'm dying. And then he just kind of registered, okay, it's a medical device. I'll leave it alone. It was like, it was not one of those things I wanted to tell somebody.
Yeah.
But, at least not a stranger. And then I did kind of chronicle my journey, publicly. But I think a lot of it was because of the fact that I realized that, I was probably one of the youngest folks that most people would ever know that had ever gone through something like this. And I did it more because I wanted people to understand that, you know, you can fight through just about anything, and you can escape from all that. So that's been that was more my message than, you know, woe is me. I mean, you know, there's always a little bit of that somewhere, but it was more for me. It was more like one of the nicknames that I guess I've given myself is the expert escapist, and that's one of those things. It's like, you know, sometimes you have to find ways to get out of positions where people think that you are never going to get out of them.
Right.
So, and I'm not fully out of the woods, but at the same, you know, I'm physically better now than I was before. I mean, I received a kidney in 2022. The road to being back to what you could consider somewhat normal has been a very long one. So I'm thankful for the fact that I've been able to do that. I'm thankful for everybody who's had my back and supported me through it all. And, you know, especially you, Myles and Donnell, because, you know, y'all still family no matter what. And, you know, it's just been a big challenge. You know, it was always a challenge to go through things like that. But it made it easier because of the fact that I had a community behind me.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
See, it's like the music just keeps you going. Yeah. Because sometimes where my health, I thought, okay, maybe it's going this way, but it just seems like music just keeps me from going too far, you know, like keeping me healthy and even my mind right. Because I got that one thing that, all right, even if I'm working a job or something, I know when I come home, I got something to do. I got that extra thing to do on the weekend, you know, go in my studio, just even if I don't release whatever I make, just the fact that I can go in there and do that. Or back in the days, okay, you could go to the record store on the weekends after your work or whatever. And you had that extra thing. But even now, as you said, as we get older, we still have our studios. We still got the music. We're still part of the community. Yep. And it seems like that helps, you know, with the health. You got that extra thing to do, the thing which we're passionate about, which is good for the health. There's I know a lot of people like you. Like, I know one of my friends, Aaron, a childhood friend, he was having the same issues you had. And he's still alive, but he was harder, you know, and I'm sure he's still on that level, but he's not in the music like we are. You know, he different kinds of music, obviously, but just the fact that everybody I know kind of in this music community, the ones that haven't passed on, it seems like they're living on, and they have this one thing, this passion, this electronic music, and it's working for them. So as you were just saying that's what I was thinking about. He's going through all these crazy things. Well, I won't call them crazy, but, you know, this life struggles. But at the end of the day, he still got his music. And that's just something to look forward to and something that keeps you going. You know, like reverses the health, because you had that one feel good thing. You know, like, oh, okay, it's an addiction, obviously, this music, because we're just never going to stop doing it. I even said it for myself, even many times. Okay, maybe I'll stop, do something else, you know, or I'll kind of do this and that, but it never happens. It's just, okay, get the next release going. You know, if someone asks you to, even if I say, no, I'm not going to do that many gigs or whatever, someone contacts me, oh, this could be a nice party. You want to, okay, it's the same thing. Go ahead and do it until the day that I actually have to travel and go there. That's when sometimes I'm thinking, oh my God, like it's going to be fun actually when I play the part, but the travel to get there, what was I thinking? I could have just been home chilling, and now I got to go there. But and all in all, it's for the music, and yeah, it looks like it. I don't know if it did, but I'm assuming that it helped you in this case.
Oh yeah,
you know?
I mean, the goal of getting back over to Europe is a big one for me right now. You know, the goal of actually getting back on the road has been huge, and I'm finally starting to get to play a little bit again, and I'm really thankful for that. You know, just trying to find ways to make better what I've done already and improve on it. So, that reminds me of one of the questions that I think will probably be fun in this one. What is the longest layover that any of you have had when you've been traveling for a gig?
I only had a couple hours, maybe, but nothing crazy.
Well, I'll take that back. Maybe 6 hours.
Yeah.
And it was going to Tenerife.
Yeah.
Yeah. 6 hours, but I mean, it was kind of like I just kind of slept in the airport. That's about it. I'm assuming that you have had something longer than 6 hours.
Yeah, I've only had 3 hours. I was in Iceland on the way back from Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My trip.
I'm trying to remember, man. Like I think it's been so many. There's not one that sticks out. Because I can say from the train to the airplane, I've had layovers even on the train.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's nothing like that. Like
a train in Europe though, not Amtrak.
Yeah, in Europe, because it's like the train's gonna be late. Oh, they're off time. You're like, dude, I rushed to get down here, and now I gotta wait like 5 hours.
Yeah.
Kidding me? I can't go back home now. I can't. I'm just here, sitting here.
Yep.
Just sitting, looking. Just sitting and looking and sitting and watching the same people go back.
What do you got, Kevin? Well, I got a feeling that you got something longer than that.
Unfortunately, yes.
Kevin, he's had some long.
So because of the fact that I booked my own flight to Berlin, and I decided I was going to do it the cheapest way possible, and I have this weird adventurous streak of doing I'm going to do something that I've never done before. So I figured I'd try this. I had an 8-hour layover in JFK, and I had a 12-hour layover in Charles de Gaulle.
Ooh.
Now, going there, it wasn't such a big deal because I was like, I was kind of like, well, actually, it was a bigger deal going there because I was like, I ain't gonna lie, I'm panicked. I'm like, I don't want to leave the airport because then I got to go back through customs and TSA and everything. I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm just going to stay here at this airport. Even though getting from one terminal to the other in Charles de Gaulle I kid you not, took like 4 hours. So
I don't like the airport.
You know what? It's a beautiful airport. It's like the airport of the future from 1960. But
retro sci-fi.
Yes, retro sci-fi. I enjoyed it. It was very fun for small reasons, but then I'm like, okay, I don't want to be in here anymore. But on the way back, it actually got me to go into Paris City Center. Okay. So I ended up, seeing the Eiffel Tower and the Arc de Triomphe. I ended up having lunch pretty much on the street right next to the Eiffel Tower at an outdoor cafe, which was very cool because I got to have lunch I got to have a baguette and espresso. And there I was smoking Galois cigarettes. So I was trying to be as I jokingly said I had the most faux French experience on the most perfect spring day possible. Right. And I have never forgotten it. I took a picture there, and it actually for the longest time was like my background photo on my phone so that I could remember where I wanted to go back to.
Right. That's what's up, man.
But yeah, so 12 hours.
Cool. Got another question for you guys since I figured.
Yes.
You guys been doing this for a while with the music and the DJing thing. So, in your time, what have you seen that was the biggest downfall of what the scene was to where it is now, as far as anything, DJing, music, or like what have you seen that has gone wrong? Like, if that makes sense, because I'm saying this before, because if you don't know, FBK stands for Failures by Kevin. Saying that it's failure, but your name specifically highlights failures or things that go wrong. So what have you seen in your days, you and Plural, what have you guys seen that you don't disagree with how the scene is in the music, the whole minute, the industry, the scene, whatever you want to say? What have you seen that has gone negative that you think that it's not right? But does it make sense? You know what I'm trying to say?
It does make sense, and I have something that I like to point to, and I think it happens to be that time period right when the late 90s, early 2000s, right around September 11th, when all of the distributors were closing up, and you had a whole bunch of a shrinking of the scene at that very moment. Mm-hmm. There was a huge moment of gatekeeping that started to happen in the Midwest and probably a lot of other places where you had people that were going, oh, well, I've got 10, 15, 20 years in the scene and no one's going to walk in here, off the street, knock me off my square. And this is, of course, during that period in time when you had a whole bunch of younger folks that were coming into the scene and they had this idea that they wanted to be part of it because they had heard the music and they wanted to be down. But they got pushed away by all the older folks because they're like, no, you got to wait your turn, or, you got to earn it or whatever, instead of trying to find ways to make it a community and actually invite them in. Mm-hmm. And what ended up happening with a lot of those folks is that they said, okay, well, if you're not going to let us be in the lane with you, we're going to make our own damn lane, and we are going to create our own scene and our own music and have our own style. Whether it's based on what you're doing or not is immaterial. And I think that that's how you get the rise of, what people now call EDM. And just the fact that those younger folks are completely split from older folks. And I feel like that was not just happening in dance music, it was happening generationally anyway. Mm-hmm. But that generational split didn't need to happen. It didn't happen as much between the generation that came up before us, like the second wave of Detroit techno, and our generation, because we wanted to learn, and a lot of those guys were like, okay, well, if you're going to learn, you're going to learn the right way.
Yep.
And we didn't do younger folks. We didn't do that to younger folks. We just basically, there were a lot of folks that in my generation and a little bit older that were like, no, if you want to come and get it, then you're going to have to learn it without us telling you.
Yeah, I get it.
You feel the same way with the whole gatekeeping?
Yeah, and the thing I've seen mostly was the whole, getting likes. People are like popular and getting bookings because they got so many likes on Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. Man. And they can't mix Kool-Aid water for real. They're using sync buttons and doing the thing. And I'm just like, there's a lot of the guys sitting around here who are like really talented technos and producers who aren't getting bookings, because we don't get all the likes and all that fun stuff, and I've seen it, man. A lot of people just because they got a bunch of likes, they're getting a bunch of followers, so people are booking them and paying them these outrageous fees, meanwhile the real talented people are just kind of sitting around like, what's going on? Yeah. So,
and on the secret strength on that, half of us are making music for those people.
True.
And it's not that we're making music for them; they're just playing music.
Some of them don't even play. They don't even play the stuff that we make. It's
right.
See, it's kind of crazy because I've had I won't say names, but I had a very famous person that I'm cool with that asked me when we first met, like my what was I doing? And I'm like, hey, I got a 9 to 5 job or 9 to 20 job, however you want to put it. But I don't make music. I mean, I don't make money from music. And they were kind of like, for real? I'm like, no. And I thought about it, like, you know, and me and Donnell had these conversations before, but just, you know, to see, like, a lot of people think that, you know, the people that actually make the music make money, and it's actually the opposite. There's a lot of people that don't make music who are DJs that make a ton of money.
Yes.
Millionaire.
Yes.
And you would think that, you know, that, you know, and they had to think like, what do you mean you don't make money? No, I don't. You make, and it's crazy because I think those people make money by playing our music.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we don't see any of that money.
No.
Nor do we get, as James said, we don't get bookings.
No.
At all. But these people that you see because you have the social media, and I'm not hating on it. That's your gig.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Do it, you know what I mean? But this is kind of, you know, I just think people will, you know, need to realize that people that play the music that you're actually hearing, those people that make that music really don't make money.
No.
You know?
I mean, ASCAP and BMI and GMA only go so far.
Exactly. You still ain't really making, like, you know, a lot of money off that. So
But listen, those things are there, and you know that's one of those things that gets lost in translation.
I think you just recently made a post about that.
I did.
I think it was you. Yeah. So, and I think that's cool. And like, you know, a lot of people don't know about stuff. Like I didn't know for a while, so Donnell put me on about publishing.
Yeah.
You don't think about it, but I mean, at the end of the day, I don't make a lot of money, but I have recently made some money off some publishing.
Yeah.
Not a lot. It's just like that's one of the tools that I think people don't know about because a lot of people don't talk about it.
Right. And the fun part, the funny part about it is that, you know, when someone comes to me and they're like, hey, I got a track coming out on this label. I'm like, okay, well, do you have publishing? Are you set up as an artist on BMI? And, you know, when they're like, well, no, what's that? And I'm like, okay, see, this is why you need these things, because if your track gets played somewhere out in the ether, you know, there might be some residual money that comes into you. You know, you never know when somebody might actually pick up your track and, you know, all of a sudden it goes viral, you know, on somebody's TikTok or YouTube stream or something like that. So it's like you got to try and make sure that you are in position to receive something.
Right. It kind of makes sense, though. Like I'm kind of disappointed that the whole thing that DVS1 was doing, slice thing, kind of went.
Yeah.
But that was like, I mean, I never seen nothing, but I was listed on it and I did it, and I think he did the best. Him and his team to make an awareness with that, and that was actually really cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he told me it was a lot of work to it.
Yeah,
he wrote me. He was like, D, it was just a lot into it. I was like, I can imagine. I did appreciate you trying to do something with it.
Yeah, know? But that's the thing. Like, you don't see that, and I ain't seen nothing since then. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, the hard part is that, you know, people love to talk about the problems of the music industry, but very few people have solutions, and that's one of the reasons why, you know, was very respectful of Zach when he did that, because
that was dope.
Yeah, because at least he actually tried to create a solution that would, you know, that hopefully would help something.
Right.
Because, you know, most people who deal with copyright, you know, even my friends who are attorneys in the music business, one of the things that they say is copyright in the world is broken. And it's broken because of the fact that it was not prepared for the 21st century.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So, you know, nowadays there's a lot of gray areas and a lot of market, you know, a lot of dark spaces that you can't find all of the, you you can't find exactly how to get through. So,
very true. So,
but yeah, it's a big challenge nowadays, and you know, I have said on a regular basis when we talk about issues, sometimes we have to find ways to fix them, because I think we spend a lot of time, even, you know, outside of music, but especially inside of music, because we're passionate about it.
mm-hmm.
We spend a lot of time talking about the problems that are happening and the drama, and we get so mired into the emotions of those dramas that we don't start, you know, taking a step back and go, okay, this is bad, but what can we do to make it better? And I'm not going to say that I have all the solutions for these things, but a lot of times it's, you know, it's more of a, I would like to see us focusing our energies and talents, you know, and finding ways to actually make some of these challenges that we have better. If you don't like the way that the festival structure works, find ways to make something that happens. That's why you support things like Tech Trade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the problem too. I mean, like a lot of people, and I hope that, you know, what this platform we got to try to get people to talk about a lot of things. Because I think that's the main issue. A lot of people just don't talk about it. Exactly. They're afraid to talk about it, or there's some issues or some kind of stigma about talking about it. I think that has to change in order for, like you said, for things to change. You have to open to some sort of dialogue for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
and you know, the dialogue can't be about what happened. It has to be more about what's going to happen.
mm-hmm.
Because, you know, whatever's happened is in the past, and yeah, we can talk about it. There's no need to always talk about, well, who did it and why. It's like that part's already kind of done and settled. The thing we need to find out is that, okay, we're here. It's kind of like, you know, when you spill some milk on the floor. It's like, okay, well, the milk is spilled. Well, how did that happen? Okay, the milk got spilled. No one cares about how it got there. Here's what we need to figure out. What are we going to do to fix it? What are we going to do to clean it up?
Got to clean it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I've never been. I'm kind of guilty a bit of that too. Like I don't, you know, for a while I had my little, like I hate Detroit, or because it's we've all been there. But I think I had to get out of my shell to really start to, like, you know, I have to do more for myself instead of complaining about shit all the time. Like,
right.
Like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Like, I don't go to Detroit. Now I didn't get booked. Now I get a little things here but now I'm trying to, you know, to change that. And you mentioned Tech Trade. I've never been there, but I've heard great things about that. And I
Tech Trade is awesome.
I'm gonna have to try to go.
I'm so looking.
You should go this year. You should go.
I'm so looking forward to going this August. You know, because they had it set up where it was like really close to right after movement.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
Yeah, and that's a bit much, because it's like that's like 2 whole weekends of just nonstop dance music.
Yeah,
which I don't mind, but at the same, it's a bit much. But now you've got a break in between, and so August comes around. It's like August, I want to say 16th, something like that.
Yeah,
yeah. So it's like that weekend. You know, I plan on being at the Container Globe, and I can plan on actually going to see all my friends, and, you know, getting to actually hear what I like to say is the heart of Detroit, the heart of Detroit music. That's, people love to go to movement, and I love movement itself. I just went this year again after not going for a while. I love a lot of things about it. But if you want to hear what's authentic, what's real, what's underground, and you really say that you want to represent that, if that's the kind of thing that you're into, Tech Trade is a place for you. It doesn't cost you anything to go, except for you to actually find a place to stay. And
it is free, right? I heard it's free.
It's free.
It's free.
So,
okay.
And the thing is that it's like, so, you know, is it an expense? Of course, if you don't live in Detroit, it is. But listen, you go and you will have the best time. It's a good. They have good sound. It is still very professionally run, and I'm thankful at the fact that I actually got to go last year to see Claude play, and see my good friend Sierra play. So the atmosphere is much more of a family atmosphere. It's like a lot of people were liking it to what DEMF was early on, and I feel like that doesn't do it as much justice. But it's because it's not just that. There's a lot of other things that happen with that. It's definitely a community festival, but it's so much more. It's something I've become passionate about just because of the fact that I feel like it's one of those things where I'm saying someone's actually doing something about it. When someone says that, well, Detroit isn't represented enough at, this festival or that festival. Well, this is a Detroit-centric festival.
All right. Now, did you guys go to movement this year? I know Kevin. I think
I did. Yeah. So did Kevin. Kevin showed up.
Yeah.
Okay. So give me a quick. I didn't go. I mean, I didn't go this year. I had to work, so I didn't have to work, but I needed to work. But so I didn't go. But can you guys got like a little recap? Like what's the best thing you've seen there this year, or how did you think?
For me, it was Mark Broom. Mark Broom blew the doors off the place. We were like, damn. Like he was just, man. He played hard too. We were just like, wow. Like I like him, man. I like his tracks. I played some of his stuff in New York Friday because I was like, yeah, it was rocking. Sean Rudiman's set was really good too.
Okay. I'm sure Sean played live. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Marcel Detman, another one. Great. Set. Yeah.
Cool.
And shout out to Marcel Detman. I'm on his label, full disclosure, and also shout out to Mark Broom because he and I are label mates as well through Records. But I only got to catch a little bit of Mark's set, but it was fantastic. I already know. Sean Rudiman is always fantastic. I say that Sean Rudiman is the best live performer in the game. Mm-hmm. Whether people believe that or not, I don't care. Find out for yourself. Bring him wherever the heck you want to bring him, and you'll find out for your damn self.
Right.
Then bring me next because I'm like 2nd or 15th on that list. So, probably 15th. Anyway.
Yeah, there was some good sets though, man. I saw some good sets, like Henry Brooks. Yeah, great set.
Yeah, I like Henry. I've been kind of following him for a while because he's like actually from Grand Rapids. People don't know that, but he's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And Henry's coming to Columbus to play soon.
Okay.
So, and he's playing with my good friend Fractured Eons. Shout out to Fractured Eons. So my good friend TC here in Ohio. Another really good up and coming producer that I think people should be following.
Yeah, TC is good.
Yeah, and let's see here. So my favorite, probably one of my favorite things was seeing Moody Man play and people being like all excited because he was playing because he played Blue Monday.
Okay. I've heard bad things about the Moody Man experience.
I'm gonna say something. If you're expecting Moody Man to just drop a whole bunch of records and all these hot and a whole bunch of like really tight blends and mixes and everything else, he doesn't always do that.
Right.
He did a lot of talking and did a lot of playing records.
So I've been in movement twice, and I've seen this last time I was in with my girl Mo. Shout out to Mo. We went, and I was actually expecting to actually hear them. I heard them, but not how I thought I was going to hear them.
Right.
And a lot of people said this year was just kind of the same, but they said he did play. There was another party that I think they did the 3 chairs thing.
Yes, they did the 3 chairs.
And I heard he went off. It was really good, and it wasn't talk. He didn't talk.
Right.
But that's the thing, like, and I get from what I hear, they're saying, he's teaching about this is Detroit, this is that. And I get that, but then a lot of people said, well, maybe that's not the time and place to do that. Maybe you should do that somewhere else, like in a what do you call it? Like another event somewhere off to the side.
Yeah.
Really,
and I get why people say that, but my whole thing is always is that there is no such thing as a right place and the right time for an education.
Right. True.
You know, education should be 24/7. We've relegated to a time period in our lives where we believe that education should happen from kindergarten through 12th grade and then maybe through college. But it's like, no, education should be a continual, ongoing thing. And I like the fact that he's trying to do so. You're right. Sometimes it seems a bit heavy-handed, but I won't disparage him for trying.
Right.
The after hours scene during movement weekend is always popping. And I think probably my favorite thing that I saw at the after hours was getting to see Dasha Rush play at the Wall of Sound. That was one of my favorite experiences of the weekend, even though it was really disorienting.
Mm-hmm.
When you walked into the room, like you walk in and of course, you know, there's the bright light of, you know, you got to show your QR code and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you walk into the door, you're greeted with heavy fog and a red light, and you can't see it you can barely see like past your outstretched hand.
Gotcha.
And
she did a live PA, right?
And she actually she DJ'd.
Okay. Yeah, I never seen. I played with her once, but she did a PA, and that was my first experience at Bergheim. She played before me.
Yeah,
she's really dope. I've never heard her DJ, but
my God, she beat the brakes off of it.
Wow.
And the sound system was like, it was like one of those full body vibration setups where like it was, you were immersed. And I know that it was just super heavy, and it felt really, really good, and it sounded fantastic.
That's cool.
And it was funny because I was so lost in it. She told me that she ended up telling me that she played one of my tracks.
Nice.
And I'm like, huh?
Nice.
So
I didn't even know you was playing it. I was just that was my track was.
Yeah, she played this track. I did. She played the vocal from this track I did called Blinky Lights, and that's on Anode Records. I had immediately had to send Ron Schlepper, Ron S. From St. Louis. I had to send him a message as soon as I found out. But it was hilarious. It was hilarious because she's telling me, she's like, you know, I played your track. I'm like, huh? You know, and the whole thing is that that track actually comes from going out at events, and it's like, you know, because it's got me saying the techno sound at night, those blinking lights. So, and it just, you know, that room was perfect for what I imagined in my head. So I was really proud of that. But her entire set was fantastic. So,
yeah.
And Anthony Rother playing live on that sound system.
Yeah, Anthony's dope.
Yeah.
Woo!
I see his videos. So yeah, he's just dope.
Yeah, his videos do not do his live set.
You're right. Yeah.
So his live set was fantastic. I tried speaking with him backstage, and I could tell like there was a whole bunch of stuff going on. So I was just like, you know, and I know that I'm weird before I play live too. So
Gotcha.
I just kind of was like, it's nice to meet you finally, and shook his hand and kind of moved on.
Mm-hmm. All right, people, we at that time. I'm gonna play.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do this little round table thing we try to do. So we got about maybe 10 minutes left. So this is it. You guys got any questions for us? Anything you want to put on the table we can discuss? People, you're watching the live stream. Now is the time to get in, comment. ask a question. We get it to these two people, and then we'll see what happens. So, what do you guys got? Anything? I'll ask you guys first. Everybody's quiet now.
No, I got a question. Myles, when are we recreating the Jones barbecue and foot massage?
Bro. He's the reason why I know what that is, because like Myles was playing that we came to his house to visit him.
Oh my God. So for those who don't know, I had a radio show when I was in England, even before that, at least a year before I moved to England, I had a radio show, and I don't know where I found that, but I used to do these commercials, and it was this Jones barbecue commercial out of Chicago. That was funny as hell. So I have to find it. You can find it that on YouTube, actually, like Jones barbecue and foot massage.
Yeah, I found it, man. That's so funny.
But yeah, that was like one of my little commercials I was trying to do. So I don't know. We can do something. Maybe we should do our own. Well, now if we come back, like maybe I might try this Tech Detroit thing out because I've never been. Maybe we
should. There we go. There we go.
I'm supposed to play it after or something for Tech Detroit, so we'll see.
Or my cousin commented, what did he say? You guys got any upcoming events? I think James just answered that. So
yeah, I'm playing some like hardware, like live PA thing, and it's like June, like the Juneteenth thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's in Ypsilanti.
Yeah.
So
Ypsilanti.
Yeah.
Ypsilanti.
Oh.
Ypsi.
It's like super close to me too, like 20 minutes or something, 15 minutes, 20 minutes away.
Yeah. I remember living with Fanon out there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Right on Carpenter Road. Yeah,
Nice.
right by the White Castles. That was good old Ypsi.
Yep.
Ypsi.
Yep.
Shout out to Fanon. So
yeah.
Mechanism, brother.
Yep. So
yeah. Dope records, man.
Yes. Introduced me to Tobias von Hofstra. So
okay.
But let's see here. My next gig is in July, and I'm DJing here in Columbus. I'm playing something called Techno Sessions.
Okay.
So that should be really interesting because I rarely get to DJ nowadays. So, but I plan on playing about 150 BPM.
Well, you know what? Not fast now.
I know.
I played at 145. Like most of but like if it's kukri, then it's gonna be really fast. So that's.
I'm gonna be the old man playing slow at 150 BPM. Right. Who'd have thunk it?
Damn.
Roberto Ingram, when are you guys playing in Munich?
Shout out to Roberto Q.
Of course, it would be nice.
That would be fantastic. If y'all don't know, Roberto is also an Ohio person as well, originally.
Is he right?
Yeah, Cincinnati.
Yeah. Cincinnati. Yeah.
It's this LA thing all the time, but yo, you need to get back to your roots, brother.
Listen.
WKRP, Cincinnati.
Daddy.
Listen.
Daddy.
He said we have to do something in Germany.
Yes, we have to.
It'd be nice.
I just want to go so I can try and be half as stylish as Roberto. So
yo. All right, Bert, I'm calling you Bert. Did you see the post what he did? He's like, God,
Berto
with the women. You see that?
Yeah, with the women. Yes.
Yeah, I did see that.
And
I'm like,
laughing. Y'all crazy. No, we ain't crazy. You trying to sneak that in on us?
You did. You tried to sneak in on us.
Yeah, he did.
They say nothing, put out a different name and stuff.
Like Charlie's Angels. That's what it reminded me of. Angels.
Right. It's like, I see you over there. Okay, fair enough.
I see you.
We watching, Bert.
Right. We're watching you.
Roberto.
And that's the homie though. And I'm mad when I got that I didn't get to go to Munich when I went. So
yeah, man, same. Yeah.
But and folks, if y'all don't know, if you don't know about Roberto Ingram, you should check him out too, because the shout out to the Decisive Podcast. He does a good podcast as well. And
at the end of my show, when you'll see at the end, I got my little sponsors. He's one of my sponsors, unofficial sponsors. So yeah, we supported each other. That's my guy though.
Yeah, and he's also a fantastic musician himself. So.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Yeah. That's cool, man, for sure. So yeah, I don't know if anybody else is commenting.
I got a question. When does Myles playing next?
Myles is playing officially. I have a gig in LA on the weekend of October 11th.
Oh snap.
That's it. First time in LA. The crew is Destroy Planet Earth. Shout out to you.
I played for him a couple years ago.
Did you? Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm playing with them, man.
Nice.
That's it. I have nothing else. My goal is to hopefully, if I can get a gig every month, I'm cool. The last gig was Kalamazoo at Circle.
Social Circle.
With Ian Schofield and them guys. It was pretty good. So you guys should reach out to them. James, I'm gonna connect you. I don't know. There's a girl. I want to say it's Caruth. I could be wrong.
Caruth, yeah.
Do you know her?
Yeah, I know who she is. Yeah.
You need to play in Grand Rapids for that.
Yeah.
Fit. So I hope she sees this and you guys can connect. But I played there once and it was a good time. But I know the type of what you're doing now, live PA, that would be dope. I don't think I've seen anybody do a live PA.
Oh yeah.
So that might be a good end for you. But the vibe is that vibe, perfect fit.
Yeah, and we'll just put this out here. So if anyone happens to be listening, I am available for quite a few things. Live PAs, DJ sets, remixes. I do not do weddings. I may play a birthday party.
I've done that.
Bar mitzvah?
Yeah, no, but bar mitzvah maybe. So, I've done my last wedding. Actually, here's a question: Have any of y'all played a wedding?
No.
You know I have. Remember when I was living with you? I did that once. I did not enjoy that very much.
I played some high school parties, but not no weddings.
What's sad is that I've told my friends now that I will no longer play any weddings because all of the weddings that I've played, the people are divorced.
Yeah.
It's not my fault.
Yeah.
It's not my fault, but still.
Yeah, it's it might be one of the contributing factors somewhere, but you never know. You know what I mean? So, all right. So tell everybody where you can find you. Social medias.
Oh boy.
Let's go.
Well, let's see here. You can find me on Facebook as Kevin M. Kennedy. Yes, the M for whatever you want to say. Don't say bad words. And then let's see here on Instagram, I am thefbk 8088. And if you would like to support my work musically, I do have a Bandcamp page, which is absoloop.bandcamp.com. Absoloop is spelled A-B, S as in Sam, O, L-O-O-P. So that's the label. And you can find me on Spotify under FBK. You can find me just about any other digital streaming service under that name. And Lord, if you want to buy things from Apple Music, cool, you can do that too. So,
Mr. Plural.
You can find me under James Johnson on Facebook, and Instagram is plural2. I do have a band camp, and it's just my label, Detect, DITEKT Records. Yeah, you can find a lot of my work there. I'm actually about to start pushing my label a little bit more, so you'll probably see a lot more stuff coming on that label from me and probably some of my friends. And, I'm going to start actually probably taking artists and all that. So, yeah, it should be a good thing.
Cool.
That's dope. That's dope, fellas.
You want to promote something, Mr. Knox, or we
I'm playing the gig in 2 weeks in a little Polish town about 2 hours away from Warsaw. But last time I played in that town was almost 20 years ago. So they wanted to do something special and bring me back for some special event over there. Because I used to bang out of this town all the time when I first moved over here.
That's cool.
So they're like, we gotta have you back. And the usual, got stuff up in the works, like track stacking, if I can say.
Yes.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. And working on a live PA.
Nice.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, let me give you guys a round of applause. Thank you for joining us today.
Yay.
It was cool, man. I'm glad this worked out. Got to do it again soon.
We didn't scare too many folks off.
No, it was good. This is a good foundation to start, and then next time we get Bert in, whoever else, just go crazy. It'll be all right. That's all right. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to MS Live. I am Myles Sergé with my co-host
D-KNOX, aka Donnell Knox. Should have said it backwards.
That's good. Make sure if you enjoy the show, make sure you guys please share, like, and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to push for 500. I'm close, almost there, but we need 500 to do some other things. And the more, the better. Like it, share it, get us in them algorithms so we can get to more people. Make sure you also take this opportunity to go seek out FBK and Plural. Subscribe, like to their social medias, push the narrative, get them out there too, and go check out the music. If anything, please listen to the music. These guys are dope. They've been around for a long time, and they're very, very talented. And we like to push this to get people to check other people out.
Yep.
So again, round of applause. And make sure you tune in. I think their next show is next week. I will post that as soon as we get done with this. And thank you again for checking us out. I am Myles Sergé, Donnell Knox, Kevin Kennedy, and James. And this was MS Live. Peace, y'all.
Peace, everybody.
All right.